What is happening there, Reject Nation? Welcome to the new set. It's a work in progress. It's all John's beautiful doing.
Looks amazing in here. I love it.
Hard labor. So here's the reality of life today.
All of it?
We were supposed to be doing a live stream about an hour and a half ago from the time of us recording it, and we were live, but it was not going according to plan. We have moved offices, and it has been, let's just call it growing pains. Sure. And then, we had a crazy, it was worse than when the studios were at my home. It was really bad. So we were like, all right, we've readjusted, and we're just going to do a recording as usual. I am bummed about it. I am sad about it because I really wanted to do people have been asking for us to do this live, and I really wanted it to be live. Yeah, I can't lie to you. I'm sad. But we got some news to talk about, and I figured we should still deliver the goods
Sure.
to the crowd. So we're going to go over some stories today. Batman Part 2, finally freaking done, Mr. Reeves. James Cameron called out Christopher Nolan, called him a bitch. You guys see that? He says, yeah, you're a little wimp, Nolan.
Shoved him.
Look it up. Quote me. Take this clip, put it out there. Variety.
Send it to James.
Run with it. Run with it. I'm going off memory. I'm not doing any notes here because I was like, this is the one time I was like, no need to make any notes. We're doing it live.
There's a director attached to a big property.
James Bond,
There
baby.
it is.
That's what it is. Dennis Rodman. And then we have Punisher in Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Dropped the day after we filmed last week. It's 6 days old, but here we are.
And we did get some super chats in that failed live stream that I do want us to acknowledge at the
100%.
end. We will 1,000% read, answer them because that would be messed up. Thanks for the money. Bye.
Our tech messed up. Sorry.
So leave a like on this video. We will figure it out. We're going to have an internet guy come in here so we can do a proper live stream. Hell, maybe that'll be next week and we could save ourselves time there. Coy, what do you want to talk about first?
All right, so we got Batman being done. We got James Bond being confirmed. We got Cameron, and we got Punisher. I want to go Batman because I honestly feel like this is my favorite big story, non-story of 2025. Because every time it comes up, everybody's like, it's still not done. So it being done feels like a big deal, but it also like no one knows what it's like to write something as a sequel to such an important thing within, a studio changeover. I can't imagine the pressure of you made a film that is beloved and unique, and then everything changed at the studio.
Right.
And even though everyone keeps asking, James Gunn keeps being like, no, it's still good. They keep asking. So there isn't pressure in the traditional way. There's pressure in like the world. And I think it's really interesting because it's kind of different. And I think it's very a product of 2025. If this had happened in 1995, we wouldn't be getting like handwritten letters. Like it's not normal to have this much oversight from not your boss. Like it feels like everyone, because every time James Gunn was asked about it, he was like, stop asking me. I'm going to get it when I get it. Cut to every single journalist like, Matt Reeves. He's like, I'm writing to Batman. So my opinion is you can only release a movie once. You can only finish a screenplay and have it in that round of like, we feel buttoned up once. Obviously, you do reshoots, you do rewrites, things happen. But that handing in of a script needs to be to the point where you feel like it's done enough to go, this is the movie. And that's a one-time thing, in my opinion. So I like that he and Mattson were given the grace to make the script they wanted. And now hopefully it's in a position to keep the new schedule, whatever that may be, because this was delayed and this has moved. But a sequel isn't normally 2 to 3 years like clockwork, like it is in the modern era of movie making. I think there's a lot of things that have made our attention span shorter. And I think in that vein, we've expected sequels to be like a TV show. And that's not reality. We've also expected things to be done yesterday, and that causes Love and Thunders and Quantumanias. And I think I would rather have something that is more creator first than schedule first. I think we're seeing Marvel adjusting to let more creator freedom happen, but we're also seeing them set release dates they have to change a few months later because it's impossible to shoot two of the biggest movies of all time and have them come out a year apart and somehow have them be done. Like, we're already seeing Marvel adjust and still have issues with scheduling. What if instead we let our creators have the time they needed, make it right, and not, do these things? So to me, The script is done. I'm excited. I'm confident. I know that James Gunn is so script forward in his greenlighting process. He's been very clear about if a script isn't right or isn't done, like we're not making the thing. So now if we hear it's going into production, I have all the confidence because they got the time, because that's how James Gunn operates, and because this is beautifully an Elseworld. I don't think James Gunn is going to be rushing Elseworlds if by nature they're supposed to be independent of the DCU. Like that's the point of allowing for Elseworlds, is to allow things to be different and creative. Why rush that? Like, why would you be like, schedule's to uphold? So I love that the Batman 2 gets to come out when it is. A lot of sequels are like 6 to 10 years apart before this modern era. And I think it's a really good opportunity for an Elseworld to feel like it's an actual Elseworld as opposed to like, okay, we've got to hurry because we got a Superman movie. Now it can be like the Batman movie. And then James Gunn can more freely do whatever he's going to do with Batman. Like his Batman. He's not directing Batman. I don't want them to be misconstrued, misquoted, except DC Studios. The Batman in the DCU.
It's a weird time to celebrate it, right? It was bordering on where Blade was at. I think, no, it wasn't. Like Blade seems like it might not ever actually get made. And I never had the doubt that the Batman Part 2 would not get made. But it seems like a lot of audiences and people who were invested in movie news and follow-ups started treating the Batman Part 2 like how Blade has been getting treated.
Our friend Christian, like Harloff, doesn't think Batman 2 is going to happen. Or like he was very...
Well, isn't homeboy wrong?
He just wrapped his live. If only we were here. Let's jump into that one. Yeah, his script's done.
Embarrassing Harloff. No, he actually texted me. He's like, hey, maybe I can help you out with the live.
Oh, that's very kind. But like he's someone that is informed. Like Christian's a smart guy.
Exactly.
He's in the industry. So I'm just saying like even people outside of just yelling fans.
Yeah, because of how we've been conditioned where movies and shows are now content pieces, which is really, really sad. But it's a cool thing to celebrate. You know, people don't understand the writing process that well. Like I'm the definition of super amateur writer, you know, and I know from listening to so many writers and hearing so many writers that distance, time, space really does help the development process of a screenplay. And, you know, in the live stream, some of these points we were reiterating, and I'm going to be reiterating a good amount of it, is how a script oftentimes you might think is complete just because you hit the end on it. But then when you're getting notes and you're reflecting on it and time passes, you are able to separate your own emotional involvement. It's an emotional that's the part that I don't think a lot of people consider, is that when you're writing it, you have to you're not coming from your head. You have to come from your heart, and you get emotionally involved with it. So you end up loving things that perhaps other people aren't responding to. That's why the phrase, you got to be willing to kill your babies, exists, because I'm sure he's had earlier drafts of this already, and perhaps there was stuff that he did love about it and he connected to, but in the process of feedback and reflecting that it wasn't working. So I think you make a really amazing point about it's Elseworlds. Let them take their time. We're not trying to, because when you're dealing with an interconnected universe, a delay with one of those creates a delay for those. Yeah. But when it's an Elseworld, you don't really have to worry about that concern.
It also strengthens both, right? Like it's strengthening your DCU and it's strengthening your Elseworld by having it come out when it's confident.
Yeah.
And I also think that, I didn't mean to cut you off. I also think that it is a really tricky thing with the human element being ignored. We don't know what actually was going on with Matt Reeves. We heard health stuff. We heard family stuff. We don't know. But I thought it was really gross that felt like that was supposed to be like a pressure release valve. And instead it felt like people were like, we don't care about your real life, right, Batman? Yeah. And the interview I posted, DC Studio Showcase show I do, when we posted the James Gunn interview, I posted a social media clip. And I remember someone commented, I really want blank character, writer, right. And I was like, and it hit me like, that's how some people see creatives.
That's how people see writing.
Some people, any art, and then like it's very gross to be like a court jester mentality.
Yeah.
One, you ain't a king if you have time to write on message boards. Two, like I hate that we denigrate artists. And to me, the Matt Reeves thing was one of the grossest examples of the biggest and smallest outlets being like, I don't care about the person, I care about the product.
Yeah.
And I just want to take a second to be like, hey, person.
Yeah.
So that also grossed me out. So I'm glad this is done. Hopefully this also means that whatever that was is in a good place. Like whatever that is, I hope that dude's good, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I hope his health is in a good place for sure, if that is a rumor to be believed. But on top of that, this is a sign of really great confidence. It sucks if the movie ends up not being good. I highly doubt it won't be good. Matt Reeves makes bangers every single time.
I've never seen a bad Apes from him. I'm not like, he's so consistent.
He's an incredibly consistent director, and he's a director who also evolves every time. And I'm sure he's only interested in evolving. I think we're going to get something really special on our hands, like the announcement of a script actually being done, especially with this, is a very different feeling than the announcement of any other script.
I don't think I've been like, oh my God, a script is done in a while. Like I've never, it's like, hey, update, it's done. Instead of like breaking news.
Yeah, because it's also very much an artist association to it. Like it was very clear that an artist wrote this, not a pressure of producers, not a pressure of committee. It's very much like it's James Gunn staying true to his word about we're going to let artists art, and he's got to do it.
That's a really good point. I do like that in the delays, it shows a trust and a flexibility. And I think that's really important when you're starting a studio. You don't want there to be, the studio side of things. You want there to be the filmmaker side of things. And I also want to give Mattson Tomlin his flowers, because we were talking about Matt Reeves a lot, but the other writer on this, there's two writers, it's Matt Reeves and Mattson Tomlin. A lot of people don't realize like this is a collaborative situation. And Mattson is such a good writer. Mattson wrote the Berserker movie they're making from Keanu Reeves' comic. He's written one of my favorite single volumes of the Berserker comic, but he also wrote that Terminator animated show for Netflix. Yeah. Like Mattson is a fantastic writer, and I know I've worked with Mattson a couple times through Berserker things. I love the dude, and he's so passionate about Batman, and he's so passionate about Matt Reeves' vision of Batman. So in all of this, I've also been really rooting for Mattson. So I'm really happy for him as well, for this to be handed in, and he's in the picture, the announcement, like just proud of the dude.
I like how we both subconsciously agreed to cheat our chairs out.
Yep. I noticed that. I was like breaking the fourth wall a bit more.
As we were talking, I'm like, we both decided to not directly look at each other.
I think the room allows for this kind of, because we can like, let's
pivot out here.
That is expert manipulation on my part. I set the chairs that way.
Did you?
Yeah. Well done.
John never comes in to credit himself.
That was that's true.
Rare. That's a Coy and Greg move.
That really is. By the way, I'm going to turn my mic on and make sure you know that you didn't subtly do shit.
Well, no, I was in here last night. I was in here in the wee hours going, okay, how will this work best and be most appealing? And that's where the
you were right, because this looks dope. And now I feel more confident in there being an audience and a Greg.
That's true. That's true. Well, what do you guys think about the Batman 2 finally being done? And yes, I think they're doing Court of Owls 100%. I bought that. The
Have
saga.
You read it?
I started reading it on the train in New York, but then I was like, I should probably catch up on my
Fantastic
Superman comics.
Superman.
Yeah.
The things that are coming out this month. I'm glad you read the things that are like coming out this month. Like pivoting to Fantastic Four and Superman is great for now. Get into Batman later, because we've got some big movies coming out.
And then whenever we have a Spider-Man news, like, I gotta read
Spider-Man. And now you know what it's like.
That's a great transition, because it happened last night. Well, first off, in the comments, what do you guys think Batman Part 2 will be about? Speculation will go on for a while, but once I realized we're going to be talking about this, I was like, I want to read Punisher's first appearance.
Yeah, Amazing 121, 129.
My dumbass did not know it was a Spider-Man comic.
No way!
And I was like, oh, suddenly I was very pessimistic about this Punisher thing. And I know a lot of people are excited because, it's Punisher. I'm like, this Punisher is like, he should be in an R-rated thing. What's he gonna have a cameo for? And like, what's he gonna be? What's he really gonna do in this movie, right? So I was my cynical side was coming out of me. But then once I was looking it up and then I read it last night, I was like, oh, it's not gonna be anything like it.
No,
but I got excited at the appropriateness and the honor of Punisher, where he first made his first appearance in Spider-Man, now gets to be in the Spider-Man movie. I'm like, okay, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that got me excited. What role do you think he's going to actually? What is this fucking movie going to be like? Because I've been reading Brand New Day as well. I'm really taking my time with that. So.
Brand New Day is very much a status quo changing comic.
Yeah,
and the whole point is like a soft reboot. And this is what the movie is. So I don't know if it's going to follow.
Brand New Day is not like a specific story.
It's an era.
Yeah.
And it's huge. In fact, the Brand New Day volume is only about a third of the Brand New Day arc. If you actually look at what Brand New Day represents, it's like almost 120 issues. So the Brand New Day that you pick up is like 40. So that's already huge.
That's why you should get the Marvel Unlimited app
and just read it all for a monthly price.
Yeah.
But I love that it is a status quo change, but it's also a status quo change that brings it back to classic Spidey tone. Like it feels like a Silver Age comic.
Definitely.
The issue in question is a Silver Age comic. So I think Brand New Day is going to be more about the conversation about a new status quo, about like a brand new day, but also trying to make it mirror those characters. I think it might be some of the characters from Brand New Day, like Mr. Negative. I think it might be some of the things like more of a crime saga, who deals with criminals pretty directly. Like I think it's going to be a street level gang war kind of story, because that's very heavily in Brand New Day, but it also affects Punisher pretty directly. He's a gang war kind of guy. So what I see this as is John Bernthal really want to expand his role in the Marvel Universe. He's getting a special. It starts shooting soon. Like
they're only shooting for a month.
It's a special. I think that's good. Like movies can shoot for 3 and be great. A special, I think a month's good. Like that seems reasonable to me, especially if they're shooting stuff leading right into Spider-Man. So I think that it is a really good opportunity for the John Bernthal Punisher to be integral to the universe, to show that he works in an R-rated special, an R-rated show, but also in a PG-13 setting if they do it tonally right. But also for Marvel, who needs some big wins, to use some of their freaking headliners. I think Marvel needs more headliner content. I think Fantastic Four is a good... They're not A-listers, they're B-plus listers. I think Punisher in the MCU is an A-lister. So I think Punisher, X-Men, Spider-Man, like you got to get that morale back. You got to rebuild that brand. Putting Punisher and Spider-Man together is like a no question grand slam. So I think it's good for John Bernthal.
And they're working on the Odyssey together.
And yeah, I was going to say they're friends.
Yeah.
They auditioned each other for the roles.
Okay.
Like
cool.
John helped with his actual audition and Tom actually helped. Like they both know each other way back.
Okay.
So I love that, like in real life, two dudes that respect each other working together. I love that they're working together now. They got this all cooking. I think this also shows how much Tom Holland's involved. Like it feels like he's very invested, and he said that this is the first time he's producing. This is the first time he's involved with creative. To me, it feels like, hey, my buddy's the Punisher. Perhaps we do that thing all the fans want. I also think it shows a confidence in the street level side. I don't know if this is true, but I hear they've been intentionally leaking misleading fake storylines.
Like Professor Hulk and stuff.
Please do more of that. If we're going to sue people for fake trailers, do fake leaks.
Yeah,
I love this. Tell me 10 different movies, so when I see a movie, it's actually a new experience.
That makes sense. I mean, like, I don't see a version where I guess there's a version where Hulk and Punisher could be in the same movie.
I could see Hulk. I could not see Hulk.
But it would be odd that there's the big rumor about Hulk, but not confirmed. But they will confirm Punisher,
right? With casting and everything.
Yeah, you'd think that they would confirm Hulk if that is a
maybe
true
closer
thing.
to it.
Yeah, perhaps.
But either way, like I love that right now we get to have this conversation as opposed to knowing what the movie is.
But they're just so two completely different tones that you would get. You tell me Hulk's in a Spider-Man movie versus Punisher, I'm imagining two very different films,
Unless one's the opening villain.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Unless one is the long game and one like that could be like, oh, this is crazy how much Spider-Man's going through.
And the Punisher's first appearance, I didn't know the story of it, and he's not a straight up villain. He like the Spider-Man is accused of a wrongdoing, and Punisher is teamed up with a character named Jackal, and he's hunting Spider-Man. And when they have their moment to kill him, Punisher chooses against it, presenting a moral code, even though he wants to murder him. He's like, no, he can't die this way. Like, it's not right. And that's not something I actually even associate so much with John Bernthal's Punisher as the guy who will stop and be like, wait, no, John Bernthal's Punisher strikes me as a guy who will just murder and do whatever it takes to get the job done. And I thought that was one of the more interesting elements of that comic.
Especially in one issue. Like that's a single issue. 129 is the only, like Punisher comes back in 135. It's the only time you see him for 6 months. And Jackal is a very different kind of character. And that's kind of what I'm saying with Hulk that could work because they can have disparate tones.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jackal is who clones Spider-Man. Like that's the guy that starts the clone saga. Like Dr. Warren, the Jackal, in issue 150 clones him, which leads to the clone saga with Ben Reilly, which leads to all of the stuff. Like it's crazy where that goes. But Jackal's a very different, not grounded villain. Like that's the biggest out there thing. And I think that's a really cool marketing opportunity too. By having Punisher and Spider-Man, you can do that cover. You can recreate moments. Like you could do the more, like the Marvel universe is looking more comic-y. We could finally see Punisher in like very stark, maybe the gloves. That'd be crazy. Like you can do a lot of really crazy stuff. So this is peak excitement. This is just good news.
Well, in terms of the moral code, like that's the constant battle that he has with Daredevil.
Yeah.
But he's immovable on his compass, Punisher. So what if through circumstances, maybe that might have piqued John Bernthal's interest in doing this, that his moral code, that it can actually be pierced a little bit from his interaction with Spider-Man, and maybe have him question how he does approach things, and he should have some type of line or actually have code in place,
right?
You know? So I think there's a way to, I just don't want it to be a cameo, basically. I want it to be something where there's an actual bit of character development.
I don't feel like either one would want that. No. And if Tom Holland is having control, and if John Bernthal is leveraging like how popular he's become, I don't feel like, I don't think it'd be a cameo because of the two of them. And just for me as a fan, like this is something I've always wanted to see. And I really think John Bernthal is the best possible Punisher. So I'd love to see it sooner than later. Like I don't want to see it in the inevitable 10-year down the road reboot. I want to see it with this Punisher right now. Yeah. So I'm so excited. I mean, like I only have 21 Spideys left. I finally got 2 new issues in the last 3 months of Spider-Man. I was at 23 issues for the longest time. I got 2 recently. I only need 21 more comics to have every Spider-Man ever in print. Every run, everything ever. Like we're talking Amazing, Spectacular, Peter Parker, Ultimate, like everything. I have 21 issues left. One of them is the first Punisher.
Wow.
It is the most recent issue I need in the world of Spider-Man. And so now this has inspired me to be like, all right, maybe I move that $sign over. Like, because I want it, like this is inspiring me as a collector to be like, this is gonna be crazy in 2 years. So like, it's also fun just as a collector to be like, do I save? Like it's fun. So like, I think this is hitting all the right things.
And it increases our odds too of having Daredevil be in it.
And Kingpin.
And that's the big hope.
Yeah,
I don't feel like
huge.
I've been saying that I personally don't feel like Kingpin should be the main villain in this one. I feel like he should be the main villain in the following one. That's
I'd love him pulling
opinion.
strings.
Yeah. I think they should be setting him up.
Yeah. And a crime saga with Punisher seems like the right way to do it.
Yeah. They clearly have a direction, but it is pretty cool how they're shaping all this to be. But are you guys stoked about it? Yeah. I initially like, when I first heard it, but through the process of discussion, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool.
I had a moment with it where I saw it and I went, cool. And then I was like, am I so desensitized to movie news that I just brushed that? And then I like sat and I was like, how do I feel? And then I was like, oh, I feel crazy. Like it was really funny to read a headline and realize we have so much content that I read it and didn't let my fandom get excited. And I had to like mindfully go, how do you feel? It's not a headline. This is going to affect you. And then I loved it.
I mean, it speaks to the bigger problem that crossover of characters is no longer as exciting as it once was.
No.
Like it really is not. It's just a norm now.
And that's why I think we should slow down and look at these moments as moments and not let it just be a headline.
Like the crossover one that excited me, that apparently a lot of people are not excited about, that Joseph Kosinski pitched.
Oh my God, Days of Thunder and F1? Dude.
That.
Rubbing is racing.
That one of like people were just getting so technical about it of like,
I don't care.
How would they NASCAR and F1 or whatever, I don't know the right terminology, but I'm like, this is a great reason to get Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise together for a stunt heavy movie.
Brad Pitt literally races NASCAR in F1.
The one movie they did together was Interview with a Vampire, which a lot of people like, I understand, but I think if you do Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt in a crossover like that, you are getting quintessential versions of them.
That was them both being thespians. I want to see them be movie stars.
I want to see them be who I like seeing them. I want to just be their personalities.
Yeah.
And I want to see them do stunts together and stuff. And so seeing Tom Cruise Brad Pitt embrace that with F1, which I adored. And then to see, and if Tom Cruise would just want to up it, you want to up the game.
It would be insane.
And it would be, and I feel like they're kind of, I feel like Tom Cruise would want to do that. Like seeing them hug on the carpets and stuff.
He went to support. He flew in.
It was nuts to me because I often forget they had that one movie together. And
they're like the 2 movie stars we have.
Yeah. When I was growing up, and I'm sure you knew it too, is like there's the actors who would compare, Stallone, Schwarzenegger, De Niro, Pacino, and then there was Pitt and Cruise.
Yeah.
And Pitt and Cruise are, they're still like huge people, and they're dudes willing to do their own stunts, and they're mega stars. The one thing that I think they would run into in conflict, though, is Tom Cruise seems to very much be when you're on a Tom Cruise production.
He's running the set.
Tom Cruise is running the show.
Yeah.
And so Brad Pitt would definitely have to be willing to play secondary if he's going to do that.
I think just the billing would have to be them both headlined. Like it had to be the same time credit.
Yeah.
It would have to be this like side by side in press. But on the filming days, I think Tom Cruise would be running things.
But Brad Pitt also is way more willing to play supporting
100%.
than Tom Cruise ever is.
Yeah.
But either way, Joseph Kosinski directing it, like how can you? When I saw that picture, like, oh my God, I
need this
want
so
this.
bad.
And it's also a surprise crossover, like one you wouldn't expect, but would make sense, and you could totally weave, and it would be more than just a legacy sequel to a rather underappreciated Tom Cruise movie. I don't even know how beloved that Days of Thunder movie really is. Movie. It really? Okay, I actually haven't. I'm not even sure I've seen it.
Okay, so in F1, his name is Sonny Hayes, which is a great 80s action star name. In Days of Thunder, his name is Cole Trickle, which is just as much of an it's like been written for 40 years to make a sequel to. Right now, this is Heat and The Expendables. It's all of the drama of these two crossing over, plus the action of Expendables. This is what our generation needs to heal.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Days of Thunder 2.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
I want it so bad. This is BVS for 90s moviegoers. Like this is the crossover of the century, but not with IP. Because no one cares about Days of Thunder as much as Batman and Superman as IP. That means they can be flexible, but it's all of the intensity of Heat.
And what a great way to re-promote F1 for the amount of money they put into it.
100%.
And then it's going to be like exclusively on Apple.
Yeah.
What a great way to recoup some of that.
Days of Thunder 2, F2.
You don't even need to call. I don't know what you would call it, but I don't feel like you would even need to. I don't think if you announce it, people would just be excited.
They're just going to see them two on a poster.
Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt in a movie together doing their own stunts. People would freak out.
Untitled car movie. I don't care what it's called.
F2 Rolling Thunder.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there you go, baby.
I was going to go Days of Thunder, but yours is way better.
Put the fun in Thunder, baby.
I want that so bad.
Yeah. Do you guys want that?
New headline of this episode is just the passion for Days of Thunder.
All right. The big one. It's cool to see people excited about a director. It's just weird because remove Denis, who is the director you constantly hear about possibly being attached or people wanting to direct a Bond movie?
I recently heard a name and it surprised me. Who was it? I thought someone like Guillermo or someone's attached.
No, John, which name do you hear most often?
The Farrelly brothers. No, it's got to be Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan's the name I hear all the time.
That dude's making epics.
All the time. And it seems like, I don't know if Christopher Nolan would do that. I think Denis was even more unlikely because of how specific of a director he is. Like he makes spectacle, but he makes like dread heavy films. I don't like Nolan makes
he still
fun.
makes blockbusters.
Yeah, he makes fun, Yeah. Even if they're like Oppenheimer, you're somehow super entertained for 3 hours. Denis makes films that are, like you think of like Sicario, Arrival. I don't think of anything he does like plot, but he knows how to do action.
Amazing. Sicario
well.
especially shows that Arrival even, but like I think Prisoners, I think Dune.
Oh, Prisoners.
So like I think the darkest of dark, and like Dune is a slow burn. Bond is not.
Yeah.
So like Chris Nolan has made Bond a bunch. He made Tenet. He made Inception.
Yeah.
Like he's done the thing. So you're right. Like that is a way more 1-to-1. And I know that he kind of like designed his career around wanting to make Bond. Denis came out of left field, but immediately has me the most excited for Bond I've ever been.
Yeah, I think what Daniel Craig brought has reinvented the possibility of what you can do with James Bond.
Yeah.
What I think he will bring is a new atmosphere, a new world to step into. Like Casino Royale is absolutely one of my, I mean, honestly, I haven't seen that many Bond movies, but
It's my favorite Bond, having seen 7 Bonds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, out of the few I've seen, that's my favorite.
Having started at GoldenEye. It's new who.
But I do love, it is pretty much that. Regardless, like we all still kind of know what Bond is associated with aesthetics and tone, and people were constantly contemplating, like, hey, we'll go back to the 60s. What would you do after the events of No Time to Die?
Yeah.
We were cynical as fuck about it. We talked about it in the show with Amazon doing it.
100%.
About the universes they want to create and all the
shared
bullshit.
Bond universe.
A show. All these things that would dilute the property, the intellectual property. The last thing I ever expected was a name like him to do this.
An auteur director is not what I thought Amazon would be like. Let me counter all this.
Yeah.
Like those 2 words, like Denis Villeneuve, I'm immediately, Amazon doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like it's the one of maybe 10 names where they could say it and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm there. Like no matter what, I think it's going to be great now.
In fact, it's probably like the biggest challenge for him. Oh, he did Blade Runner 2049 too. But you see, Blade Runner 2049,
Still an art house film.
that's what I mean. It's in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Like you see,
It's dread.
Yeah,
Like-
he mainly uses dread.
Yeah.
As out of even Dune, as big as Dune is, it's a dread heavy experience. That's probably the one part about it where I'm wondering how audiences will even. But for all we know, he might do a completely different swing and go for
He might try something new for him.
He might try to honor what he grew up with Bond instead of going for this, the more tone that he's associated with.
He's also will have just come off doing 3 Dunes, which is a lifetime. Like,
and they're
he's
huge,
been on this forever. He's lived in this world. Maybe he wants to be like, can I make an action movie?
Yeah.
Like he might want the palate cleanse for him.
Yeah.
And I'd be curious what an action movie without dread even looks like from Denis,
But I think he will, regardless, do something very creative and experimental.
Yeah.
And he's also really good at doing that kind of he's also really good at working with intellectual properties.
I don't even know what his Bond artist will be, like just sandworm screaming. Like, because the Bond directors usually have an artist that makes their song that like feels like their rhythm. Like I'm already like, I've never been as big of a Bond fan to be like, it's 2 years away and like, who's the artist? Like I'm so excited. I'm jacked in.
It'll be Hans Zimmer.
No lyrics.
No lyrics. Yeah.
I'm stoked, man. This, I mean, between Punisher and Spider-Man and this, and then Brad and Tom, like, cinema's back.
What's cool too is I don't recall the time where maybe, I mean, I haven't lived long enough, but this might be, correct me if I'm wrong, this might be the first time in Bond history where people are super excited about a new Bond without the announcement of a Bond. Just the announcement of a director. Like Martin Campbell did do GoldenEye and he came back for Casino Royale, but I don't remember the hype being about that. It was the controversy of blonde hair, blue eye, Daniel Craig being in the role, not Martin Campbell coming back to redo Bond.
I think Sam Mendes had some hype,
but I'm talking about
Craig
new
was already,
Bond.
you're right. And Craig was already there, so it was about Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I also don't think they've never been director
we're not even,
first.
I haven't even been hearing about fan speculation about who the new Bond will be and all that.
I don't care now.
That's what I mean. It's like I kind of trust him, whatever.
Yeah.
Put Timothée Chalamet in there.
Do it. Skinny
and then
Bond.
Zendaya as the Bond girl.
Writes itself.
Javier Bardem as the bad guy again.
The name's Atreides. Paul Atreides.
Yeah. Just get everyone the same bag. Oh man, that'd be cool. Get Austin Butler. Hey. Nah, he wouldn't. I think
My name's
have
Bond. James Bond. I'll have a peanut butter and banana sandwich.
Chunky, not smooth. I want that so bad. Would watch tomorrow.
Well, getting him to changes the whole perception of Amazon's approach.
Yeah,
because. Sure, he's doing this one, but is he going to be assigned for the next few, or is it just normally Bond changes directors? Like Sam Mendes did 2 back-to-back, but that's not really common with the Bond franchise. If he does a great job, it'll attract other auteurs willing to do it. That makes the likelihood of a Nolan doing this. Yeah,
with Amazon money.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's actual possibility. It's weird. This one choice more than this speaks way more volume than any actor. You could have gotten DiCaprio.
I don't care who. Daniel Day-Lewis comes out of retirement to play Bond. I'm less invested.
We got to name it
pretty
at least
invested.
one
Oh, no.
British actor.
If it was although if it was Daniel Day-Lewis, I'd be like,
What
this
is
could be
that?
a wild Bond movie.
No, that would be the closest to this feeling. But I'm still more invested in Denis.
Yeah, because that's speaking to a vision.
Yeah. And like an entire tone and shape. You could do a bad Daniel Day-Lewis Bond. I don't know that I have any doubts in a Denis Bond. Like, it is such a director choice of tone. Like, that is going to be the shape. Whatever shape he chooses, we don't know, but that's special.
Yeah, I mean, he does make like cool shit though too, right?
I mean, it's just full of dread.
like 2049, like Prisoners is pretty cool too. Like
Prisoners is my favorite Jake Gyllenhaal or Hugh Jackman performance.
it's a sad experience.
I can't watch it often.
It's a hard experience, but it does look cool though. It is like cool.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman is like scarier than any Wolverine shot.
Yeah, it was Roger Deakins cinematography.
Yeah.
Roger Deakins has worked on Bond before.
Dude,
I think he worked
Deakins
Sam
comes
Mendes.
back, yeah.
I think
He's my
did-
favorite DP.
I think he did No Time to Die. Not No Time to Die. I think he did Skyfall. I think he did Skyfall.
I think you're
He
right.
might have done
Quantum?
No, that was Mark Forster. I don't think he did that one. He might have done the follow up to Skyfall. I'm not sure.
Deakins is my favorite DP. Like he's my like
Really hard. I literally cannot name one other DP.
I believe it is just Skyfall.
just Skyfall.
Yeah, that looks like the Deakins movie too.
Yeah, but that's kind of my point. Like I
Yeah.
know the cinematographer for Dune is beloved because he's on the Batman as well, and he's an incredible DP. His name escapes me.
Oh my God! It's like
He's trying to become him.
I can kind of hear
He's
it.
transforming into
Not
him.
Greg.
Greg?
Oh, what is it?
Fraser? Greg Fraser?
Greg
That's
Fraser!
it, yeah.
Greg Fraser!
Yeah.
But that's the closest to a second. But I literally will see a movie if I see it's Deakins. There's no other DP that I'll like. I'm
Yeah.
just not that kind of film watcher.
I mean, it's just Fraser's pretty good.
Oh no. But like
You could
if I
get
hear,
him. He did Dune.
if I hear Fraser, I get excited. I'm just saying, like, I click on Deakins' IMDb and I'll like, that's the only DP that I'll seek out.
Well, Deakins has a look.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I've seen movies where I didn't know Deakins made it, but
Like, of course.
I guessed it was him because of how it looks.
He DP'd Rango, an animated movie with Johnny Depp playing a photorealistic crazy lizard, and it looks like a Deakins film.
I actually didn't know he DP'd 1917 but I was watching.
He got
going
the Oscar
like,
for it.
The lighting looks like Deakins.
Is that a Deakins?
Yeah, he's really good with like the shadows. Too.
Yeah.
Like the way he does night.
So expressive. And Sicario.
We've never talked about cinematography here.
No,
Yeah.
and this is a real remix. This is the most film school episode of this pod ever.
I think so too.
In a positive way.
In a very positive way. It's the one benefit of today. Bond. I'm excited for it, man.
First time we're talking about Bond ever as friends or on camera, I think.
We talked about Amazon buying it, but not in a way that was
Like,
exciting.
flippantly.
Yeah. I would be excited if Henry Cavill did get the role, though.
I would be excited, but I would expect it to be a much older skewing Bond so that he could actually be it for a few movies. Because like time is happening. So they'd have to like establish it as that.
I just feel like Henry keeps getting kicked out of like iconic roles.
I know. I feel bad. I mean, he was kicked out on the Journey In too. He auditioned for like Edward Cullen. He auditioned for other Superman.
Yeah.
Like,
Leave your thoughts down below. I guess we'll end on this weird thing James Cameron said.
well, that's fun.
The Twitter one is only doing, the moral cop-out one where he's saying Oppenheimer's a moral cop-out for not showing Japanese bombing. I felt that it dodged the subject. And of course, people are forming massive opinions around that.
On Twitter? No.
But the full quote, John, why don't you read it?
Deadline asks, you say this could be your lowest grossing film because of the subject matter. How surprised were you that Christopher Nolan's movie Oppenheimer grossed almost $1 billion and won 7 Oscars? Clearly people are interested in that whole splitting of the atom, to which Cameron responds, yeah. It's interesting what he stayed away from. Look, I love the filmmaking, but I did feel that it was a bit of a moral cop-out because it's not like Oppenheimer didn't know the effects. He's got one brief scene in the film where we see, and I don't like to criticize another filmmaker's film, but there's only one brief moment where he sees some charred bodies in the audience, and then the film goes on to show how it deeply moved him. But I felt that it dodged the subject. I don't know whether the studio or Chris felt that that was a third rail they didn't want to touch, but I want to go straight at that third rail. I'm just stupid that way.
I feel like he's kind of missing the point of the movie.
Yep.
But he's not the first person to say this. We've heard this criticism before.
Not usually from smart people.
Yeah, it's true. And he's smart. He's a very smart
James
guy.
Cameron.
He's genius. And he is totally criticizing another filmmaker's movie.
He's also lacking a moral compass lately.
With the AI stuff.
Yeah, like he's sacrificing lives today while condemning someone for not showing lives. I don't know. I mean, sorry. Please give me your thoughts.
I mean, to me, I just don't feel like he gets the scene. The scene is
the movie.
It's the whole point is it's the POV of him. He wasn't there on the grounds for this. He didn't visit the ground site. So yeah, it would be the first time they would cut away from the movie's called Oppenheimer, and it's a very specific perspective. And they don't break that perspective.
It's not called Hiroshima or Nagasaki, and it involves those horrific moments and events. And it is about those horrific moments and events, but only in that it's about the man that felt impossible to understand guilt of the knowledge of the ramifications.
Yeah.
I think the ramifications are clear from day one of the film. Like he knows when he sets out on this journey the horrors of what it is, and then he lives in complete brokenness for causing and allowing it. Like the whole movie is him, I feel, acknowledging the thing that he claims in this quote not to acknowledge. Now, this is a tiny quote, obviously taken with very minimal context, but there is a hollowness to the statement that I feel in some of James Cameron's latest work that I think is interesting, that he would say that about his work. Like, to me, the environmental nature of Avatar is very important, but I feel more drawn to actually do anything about it watching Fern Gully. Like, I think there's a hollowness to Avatar that doesn't get criticized because of the spectacle.
I mean, this is what you're touching on is what I feel like James Cameron was putting how he would make it, and I feel like he would kind of make a spectacle of the.
That's what I'm saying, of the death, which is
bombing, right? Yeah,
horrific in its own way.
Yeah, he would make the Terminator 2.
That's what's so ironic about the guy that's like being a proponent for AI who invented Skynet, which he knows the dangers of.
Yeah.
Like the entire Oppenheimer press tour around the movie was making sure the dangers of technology advancing to the point of causing harm was inherent to not just the movie, but the press.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, dude is like, what are you going to do? I'll take lots of jobs. Like, that's crazy.
And the movie also is showing that these people are making this on their grounds, their terrain. They're celebrating what they've been able to build. The American people in the auditorium are celebrating.
And it's a horror scene.
And you're able to celebrate and rejoice in this and victory when you keep yourself at a distance of the actual ramifications and the lives that were lost when you don't expose yourself to it.
Yeah.
But in that scene that he's touching on, it's not about showing the aftermath of the burned bodies. It is showing that he is aware of the ramifications and the lives and the harm that was caused. He cannot participate with the distance that everyone else is able to do. So I think he's kind of missing the point of not showing it.
Yeah, I agree. And that it's just as an odd quote from a smart man.
Well, and to what you said, the Deadline interviewer does immediately follow up by saying Nolan answered that criticism by basically saying, I hope somebody tells that story, but to me, this wasn't that story.
Yeah. Did he respond to that?
He said, okay, I'll put up my hand. I'll do it, Chris. No problem. You come to my premiere and say nice things. I can't tell you today what's going to be in the movie. I've been making notes for 15 years, and I haven't read a word of the script yet. But there's a point where it's all there, and you start to write. That's how I always work.
Wait, what? That's a real thing?
Apparently, yeah. I'm just reading off the interview.
And he said all that?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
He's a weird man.
He's a weird man. Yes, Oppenheimer 2 coming soon from the other POV and a man that makes action spectacles. I don't know. I really like James Cameron. He's made one of my 26 5-star films. Like,
I feel like he'll do that. The Hiroshima story will be about a couple in love who are trying to escape and they're not able to. That's what James Cameron does.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And there will be really, really evil Americans and really, really good Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. It's so tricky. And I do like James Cameron, but like that is an odd read of a film that I think is pretty clear.
What I picked up on this conversation is I liked Way of Water way more than you did.
I think it's one of the most visually stunning hollow narratives that made $1 billion, which is impressive because Transformers movies also made $1 billion.
I loved The Way of Water. I really did.
I felt so little that I was worried that I was developing sociopathy. And then I saw it a second time and felt even weirder about people crying. And I was like, what am I misreading? It just, the writing and the stiffness and the heavy-handedness made me go like, guys, you see the same movie. And like, I'm gonna be day one, Avatar 72, you know? But like at the same time, I really wish he was making stuff like he did The Abyss, and I would rather see him come back to Terminator in the time we need it, but right now he's working for the Terminators.
Well, he needs to get some Avatar movies done.
That's true. He's AI. He's like, you know what? Humanity's really caused a lot of environmental harm. Let me go ahead and AI render this scene that's going to drain 82 lakes. Send.
I'm often saying Terminator 2 and The Matrix they often compete for my favorite movie of all time. The Matrix is definitely a much smarter movie, but I still think I'd give it to Terminator 2.
I love Terminator 2.
Yeah,
It's got the heart factor.
Yeah, it's got the more of the emotion that I like. Yeah.
The Abyss is my favorite James Cameron film, and we reacted on the channel, and I love Terminator 2, but I think The Abyss is like all of the heart I wanted from Avatar. Like, it's so human, and it's such an alien story. And that's what I think upset me about Way of Water, because I thought Avatar 1 was going to set up a beautiful world so that he could invest in the characters and he could invest in making us care about this world. And then I hear people that are like, you know, I'm so depressed because Pandora is not real and people going to therapy because, and I'm like, I didn't see that movie.
Yeah.
I'd love to. Like, I want to feel what other people feel with Avatar.
I didn't feel it at all with the first one.
Really?
I really didn't. I did not experience. I actually we didn't have a channel, and then I avoided the trailers. When the trailers would play in the theaters, I would run out of the theater.
Wow.
I wanted to see nothing, and all I saw was a poster. That's all I saw. So I
Cool,
thought
man.
I thought I would get the ultimate immersive experience. And I just sat there for most of it going, why do I feel absolutely nothing? And why am I waiting for this movie to end?
That's how I felt with Way of Water, because I had built it up to where you were with the first one of like, this is the one I'm a feel. And I was like,
Yeah, I didn't feel jack in the first one, but I liked it more on the rewatch at home. But I did.
that's ironic.
I know, really, right? It's weird, right?
Of any movie, you know, Avatar really hit me at home.
Like, at home, I was like, yeah, it's fine, it's fun. But yeah, the Way of Water I did enjoy. But that's our thoughts on that. Let's read some questions from the John. Do you want to read them to us? We had some super chats that came in. You want to just pull them up?
Alrighty. First question from the lovely Mayank superhero fan. Thank you for chiming in. Hey, Coy and Greg.
Hello.
I recently posted my Ironheart review on my Insta page. Someone commented that if I unironically like it, I'm wrong. They have not replied to my query of why they did not like it. Why so much hate?
Well, I appreciate the super chat there. You have so much hate because people have made up their minds
Before a frame was on air.
beforehand, and maybe they really don't like it, and they don't know how to have the ability to accept that people can have different opinions. So they're deadbeat losers who are unconfident to make their own opinion content and put their own reviews up.
Yeah, you were brave. You put your opinion on the internet, which is a bold thing to do.
So they're little bitches who try to take other people down due to them feeling inferior, whether or not, it doesn't matter what their opinion is. If they think it's woke, virtue signaling, I'm she, you, whatever the hell they want to say. I'm not even like, I wasn't even a big fan of the first 3 episodes. I really, like, if you watch our video, I'm like, I like the third one relatively enough, but the first 2 really didn't cut it for me.
But we articulated our opinions and thoughts. So someone just being like, it also like the phrasing of that, it could just literally be a bot. But also bots and people that write that on strangers' pages are very similar IQ. So it just could be a dumb person.
To hell with them.
Yeah.
But appreciate you.
And bold swing on the opinion, man. Make art.
What's next, Jay?
This is going to be here we go. This is going to be a fascinating one. Daniel Lopez, 3606. Thank goodness, no diversity, James Bond. I love Denis films. Sicario is Sleeper. Gregor Coy should react to it in your channel. I would just like to point out really quick that Denis Villeneuve is a Frenchman. Let's get going.
It is a man named Denis Villeneuve. Not a very diverse. Like, what is this? I'm for every sentence of this confused me.
What's the first part of the sentence?
The director is neither black nor a lady.
I see.
Thank goodness no diversity, James Bond.
But we haven't announced James Bond. Okay, sorry.
We haven't announced Bond. Bond could be black, Asian, Korean.
And I mean, Sicario stars a lady and a Hispanic guy.
Every sentence, because then he praises Sicario.
Arrival also stars a lady.
But he mainly does do movies with white boys.
He does.
Right.
He does do pretty white movies.
Zendaya is a lead of Dune with Javier Bardem. The lead is Timothy, but
There's a real lead.
no, but the leading cast isn't all white dudes. I'm like it's an ensemble.
There's Javier. There's Zendaya.
Those white names you just listed.
But no, I mean, I think the cast is primarily white, right?
But I when I hear Denis Villeneuve, I don't go like, thank goodness for crackers.
What else has he made? Arrival. That's a very whitey cast
with a woman lead.
Yeah,
Amy
but
Adams
Forrest
is the lead of that,
Whitaker
isn't it?
is in it. He's always got at least one black guy.
I just so he praises. So he's assuming that because of this, the Bond will be a boy.
That's what I'm reading.
I see. What was his question?
Just more of a comment, I suppose. I love Denis films. Sicario is sleeper. Greg or Coy should react to it in your channel. Get on that.
I've seen both. I love them.
Well,
we do have a Sicario reaction on the channel.
Part of me is hoping that he does go fully woke on this one just to ruffle some feathers.
Idris
would be
He's
good.
such a good Bond dude.
He'd be good. He'd be a good one. Dave Chappelle.
Anna de Armas.
Marlon Wayans.
I want that martini shaken.
Not stirred.
All right. Chaz Bustos, 6790. Thank you so much to Chaz. Beast and Thing getting great comic book accuracy in the MCU makes my heart smile. Does it make your guys' heart smile?
I hope Beast looks more 3D next time. But yeah, I think a very comic accurate, underbite Beast is exciting. I didn't love the CGI of him in the first instance, but that can always grow and improve. He does look comic accurate in that he looks 2D. But I think the Thing looks amazing, and I'm really hoping. I think Eben is perfect, so I'm really hopeful.
Here we go. I don't think people. I'm not sure I'll ever come around on Beast and CGI.
Yeah,
I mean, he was practical effects, and you brought back the guy who played him in the practical effects. That's why I was excited. Like Yoda was cool in the prequels, but I get why they CGI'd him for the amount of flipping around they had him do. But when he was back to practical in Last Jedi, I remember, as divisive as the movie is, the whole audience clapped because it's like, oh my God, the real fucking
it's like
Yoda
the actor
version.
came back. It's somehow like a physical Yoda.
Yeah. And for hardcore comic fans like yourself and what you're saying, yeah, you appreciate it. But if you're not into comics, I think if you want the more universal appeal, practical will hit way harder as opposed to just tending to your niche.
I like feeling like there's someone on screen.
Thing looks real.
Thing does look real, and that's what I hope we get to with. I mean, if there's an X-Men movie,
I would meet Marvel there with Beast.
Yeah, I agree.
That's that. But I don't want to ruin your.
I love that you're happy.
Yeah.
Here's something fun. Daniel Lopez 3606 is back and just has a little word of support for you guys. Said you both should do more live streams instead of pre-recorded podcasts.
Not anymore. Every live stream we do goes to shit these days.
That is hilarious timing.
We cannot. We got to really figure. We got to hire someone.
That was stressful,
and
dude.
Bring someone in, man. It was we did the multi-con live, and that was a whole production.
Yeah.
It was smooth.
That internet was magic.
And there were 10 cameras on that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It was
as the sun set.
It was insanely smooth. This should be
so easy.
A walk in the park.
They got that crazy ass internet.
But fiber should be fibering.
It should be.
I limped into today. I was so tired waking up, and I was like, we have a plan, we have a commitment. This is a big episode. And you guys had way more pressure than me. I'm just attending this room. You guys have built this room. You guys have been building this studio. But I came in oh my, John crushed visually. This is amazing. And you has no control over the internet. You did everything you could. So it was really hard when I was I don't have the bandwidth today, but I'm going to do it live because I'm a man of my word. And then when everything went to hell, I was I don't have the energy to be angry. And I've just been riding that sigh for the last hour.
We want to do, I like doing live streams. So I was really sad that we couldn't. But thank you.
Big same. I really
I'm glad you want to see
work.
them. But we're next time we go live, we're going to make sure it's fucking the best thing in the world for sure.
All right. Ryud07. What are y'all's, and thank you, Ryud. What are y'all's personal fan cast choices for the new DCU Batman?
For DCU, I'm still a John Hamm sucker. I would love a John Hamm. No, wait, we're not talking about Josh Brolin. That's my
I was like, I thought you were on the Josh Brolin train.
Yeah, Josh Brolin just looks like him from the Dark Knight Returns. So I would, and his voice too. I mean, if you can get Aquaman to be Lobo, you can get Thanos and Cable to be Batman.
I like Milo Ventimiglia. I think
we
he'd
have
be
very different picks.
Yeah, well, it depends on the age. Like, you know, if you're going to have him as a young father and someone that is doing a paternal take, that also I think could be a great Bruce Wayne and also could be like very commanding. I think Milo really shows range to be like authoritative, paternal. Like, I think there's a cool element there. I also really, really like Jake Gyllenhaal. He's auditioned for every round. Like, he's done like the last 4 Batmans. Like, he's been in the last running. I think if you get like a Prisoners, speaking of Prisoners, if you get like a Prisoners Jake Gyllenhaal as like dark and brooding and broken, then you can still have the charming movie star, like Music Man, you know, like very, like that would make the Justice League work with like comedically brooding without being campy. And I think that's going to be a fine line to walk. And I love Jake Gyllenhaal. So like that direction.
All great points.
All right.
Is that it?
Alden Doherty, 494. Thank you for chiming in. Love the podcast, you 3. So shocked I caught you guys live for at least a second there. Okay, get ready because you're going to want to be very careful with your eyeballs as I finish this comment. Also, Coy and Greg, blink twice if you liked Superman.
I don't even know if I'm allowed to blink about untitled film.
We are under very they were
craziest of.
All I can say is they were very, 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 very strict. That like you can't even allude you have an opinion. It was the weirdest thing that they said, and it's hard. It's especially hard when I see people who have a really big following doing videos where they're clearly sort of hinting at what they feel about a movie, and they can get away with it. We can't though. But yeah, unfortunately we can't, but I appreciate the super chat.
I look forward to conversations.
Yeah.
Noah Duncan, 4095, wants to enlighten you guys. This is going to be a good non sequitur for the podcast. It's called Good Friday because while Christ's death was tragic and he was innocent, it provided salvation for those who repent and believe. Do you guys care to fill the context in?
In brief, there was a tangent earlier where I didn't understand that Mary and Mary were different Marys, and there was a brief conversation of religion and my lack of knowledge of it. And I was trying to understand Good Friday being called good. Basically, I don't know a lot about religion, and it was being explained to me. Thank you for the clarity on why that day is called Good Friday. I appreciate it, and the super chat.
Hey guys, I'm going to be doing an interview with someone. Brandon, you want to pop in here really quick?
This is a tease. We're doing a little preview.
Just choose whichever mic you want and say hi.
Brandon came bearing gifts. This is awesome.
Boy, I got you. This is straight from the Superman junket.
Dude, this is so cool.
Oh, shit.
This is so cool.
Shit.
This is the raddest.
Hello, Reject Nation.
Oh, shit.
Have fun.
He'll be back in this chair soon.
Oh, damn.
This is so cool. I'm like so excited.
You were just at the...
Have 100 of these.
I don't yet. I haven't seen this yet.
You were just at the Superman junket?
I just came straight from it.
Oh, amazing.
I literally saw you walk in and I saw you and then the word Metropolis. Like I literally I saw a person and Metropolis and went, and then I was like, oh, it's Brandon. And now it's mine.
Who'd you interview?
James Gunn and then Rachel Brosnahan, David Cornsweet, and Nicholas Holt together.
Oh, it's amazing. All 4 or 1 and 3? Got it.
So no one special?
Yeah, just a casual day at the office.
Boring.
I had David Cornsweet, so I figured.
Oh, that's dope, dude.
Damn.
That's special. That's a good day.
I was a fan today. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, to live.
And now you're gonna do some something really of quality.
Yeah.
This is this is why today was circled on my calendar. Not.
No.
Yeah.
That was
They
breakfast.
planned the junket around this.
Yeah, I'm really glad they got you warmed up.
Thank you. We're gonna wrap for these last. Thanks for this, man. Thank
That's
you.
so dope, man. No,
Don't be sorry, please.
You brought Metropolis.
You
to me.
grab snacks. In each office, there's drinks.
There's
grab whatever you
snacks,
want, man. There's drinks and food. Do whatever you want.
All right, we got 2 more questions.
Cool.
We got a super chat and a stream lab. The last super chat is from Michelle Cherie, 419. Just sending some love. Sorry the stream isn't going according to plan or wasn't. Absolutely loving the pod lately and the discussions you guys have.
Thank you.
That was part of why I really was excited for a live stream because I personally, this is my favorite thing we do here is the pod. And I love combining like real conversations you and I have with pop culture conversations. And I was really excited about the third element of like bringing in people. So even through the super chat, I appreciate it because this job, it's such a weird thing to be vulnerable online because online's so tempestuous, but to do it then like to camera is crazy. So I really appreciate the support because this show means a lot to me.
Yeah, I was looking forward to doing a different type of qualitative one too with the camera setup and also not have to. Cause normally when I'm leading a live, I'm also like the comments and trying to guide and direct it. I'm feeling feedback all around. And I got multiple, and I was like, oh, it'd be nice to do one where I mainly just have to focus on the conversation and occasionally check the live. So
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there eventually. But thank you though.
All right, Adventures in Lauren Land taking us home with a mightily generous Streamlab comment here. Finally caught a live stream. It's been forever. Why are we talking about the Snyder cut of the Bible? Anyway, super excited about the Batman 2. Love you guys.
Again, vamping for time, trying to navigate. I was learning, and I had asked if there was like any spinoffs, and yeah, there was a little dabbling in that.
Yeah, and I grew up Catholic, and I
you were giving me like data I didn't have.
I was giving you like real, actual, like you can view it as lore or history, whichever one you want. And I was just trying to explain it all to Coy because I know the Jesus story pretty well.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah. So it was an interesting way to be like in between moments. So I love that like the super chats were equal part like comic thing and also Jesus because that's what the live stream devolved into while we were trying to get things working. We'll get there.
Fun to explain it to you though.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I learned some stuff I didn't know today.
Like there's two Marys.
Dude, two Marys feels like such an important one day I'll know.
One day. Anyway, thank you guys for your super chats and Streamlabs. That contribution means a lot. Thanks, Coy, for all the readjusting we had to do today. Thanks, John, for all your hard work and hard effort. We will try to do a live when we get some things sorted out. But
we got a 25th episode coming up. That's also a big number.
Still enjoyed our conversation.
Oh, 100%. Dude, this was a blast. I'm in a better mood now.
Yeah, me too. I'm just starving now.
Yeah.
But thank you guys. We'll see you soon. Thank you.